Hello and welcome to the screencast. I'm Tom Cochrane from the Centre for Teaching and Learning Innovation at Unitec. Along with Gedra Kalagita, we're doing a presentation on Dummies2Delight, using communities of practice to develop educational technology literacy in tertiary academics. Now, alongside this presentation, we've also set up a wiki with a lot more notes, a lot of downloads of material and links to videos, etc. that you can look at, and you can see the URL there down the bottom of the screen. So if you want to have a look at that, you'll get a lot more information than out of this short presentation. So let's get started. Well, apologies to Gary Larson, but we quite like this little cartoon, and it's a bit of a play on where our Dummies2Delight group was when they started to where they ended up at the end. So I quite like this little cartoon. Midway through the exam, Alan pulls out a bigger brain. So this is what we want to cover. We're going to look at why did we look at the idea of communities of practice, what was the problem to start with. We want you to do a little survey which won't take long, have a look at some of the principles of communities of practice, have an overview of the Dummies2Delight group, have a look at how we've tried to develop this into an institution-wide model, have a look at a few examples of communities of practice that we have run and are running, and then a little bit of discussion, and we'd like you to get involved in that discussion by posting to a wiki that we've set up as well. Now here's the survey, and there's a link to the survey on the wiki. This is set up on SurveyMonkey. It won't take you long. We'd just like to find out what you currently know or use in as far as social software, Web 2 type stuff goes in education. So the problem, well, today there's quite a bit of a disconnect between the technology skills of today's learners and today's teachers, unfortunately. And what we wanted to do was how to maximise the learning environment for our academic staff to get the best out of it, because they don't have a lot of time. So I quite like this quote here from Diana Oblinger from 2005. It's a little snapshot of where today's learners are at. A junior at the university, Eric wakes up and peers at his PC to see how many instant messages arrived while he slept. Several attempts to reach him are visible on the screen, along with various postings to the blog he's been following. After a quick trip to the shower, he pulls up an eclectic mix of news, weather and sports on the homepage he customised using Yahoo. He then logs onto his campus account. A reminder pops up indicating that there will be a sociology quiz today. Another reminder lets him know that a lab report needs to be emailed to his chemistry professor by midnight. After a few quick instant messages with friends, he pulls up a wiki to review progress a teammate has made on a project they're doing for their computer science class. He downloads yesterday's chemistry lecture to his laptop. He'll review it while he sits with a group of students in the student union working on other projects. After classes are over, he has to go to the library because he can't find an online resource he needs for a project. He rarely goes to the library to check out books. Usually he uses Google or Wikipedia. Late that night, as he's working on his term paper, he switches back and forth between the paper and the internet-based multiplayer game he's trying to win. Now increasingly that's going to be a snapshot of what our learners are going to be like. Now they may not use these technologies in a real educational way, but they know how to use them. Unfortunately, most of our teachers currently do not. So how do we get past this? Well, the solution is to develop a peer group support. And this is basically a community practice, and we wanted to look at using social software tools because we're coming from an underpinning pedagogy of social constructivism, and these tools seem to match that pedagogy very well. Here's a very brief outline of where our first community practice group were at the start. So let's have a look at some characteristics of communities of practice. Now these ideas come from Wenger. Now he says there's three main characteristics of communities of practice: the domain, or the shared interest; the community, some form of a regular group relationship, and that would be the 2-hour workshop that we did each week with the group; the practice, the development of a shared repertoire of resources involving time and sustained interaction. And we tried to do that using e-learning tools, communication tools, collaborative tools, etc., and then to end up with a final goal, which was a presentation to the institution on what they had learnt. Now, social software makes a very good match with communities of practice. As Wenger says, you can use technology to enhance communities of practice, in particular the ideas of developing community, of collaboration, of interaction, of supporting and nurturing the community using technology, particularly when the group is dispersed throughout the week. Now, social software tools or Web2, it's really got a good match with social constructivism. It's all about moving beyond content, about ease of use, and this is important for today's teachers who don't have a lot of time to learn stuff. They want to be able to get in there and be able to use it very quickly. It's interactive. It's about collaboration and sharing. It's about being customizable, and it's about personal publishing. One of the keys is the technology steward. If you're going to use technology in a community of practice, you really need someone who knows about the technology and can guide the group. And in our community of practice, that's been myself or Gedra, and we're from the Centre for Teaching and Learning Innovation, and that's really what we're there for, is to guide academics in the educational use of technology. So this is the Blackboard notes that we used for our first communities practice group for Dummies2Delight, and you can see we just broke up the topics into weekly topics, and they get together for a 2-hour workshop, have a look at these, have a play, discuss how they could use these potentially in education. And these topics were negotiated with the group. These were topics that they wanted to look at. They'd heard about these ideas, but they really didn't know what they were or how to do them. As the group got more confident, they started using these tools to reflect on their progress, what they'd learnt, and in particular they set up this wiki. Now there's a link to this wiki on the main wiki notes for this presentation. And here you can see they've just basically made notes about all the various things that they were learning, how they were feeling, various moments where it all came together, and moments where perhaps it was quite hard, but ultimately they had a lot of fun, they got quite excited, and they were certainly transformed over the period of time. And finally, the community practice culminated in a goal. The goal was to do a 2-hour presentation workshop to the rest of the institution, and they did this at our Teaching and Learning Symposium in 2006. And this is the wiki page that the group set up as a way of getting the audience participating in the workshop. They set up various wiki spaces where they could have up to 6 groups of people discussing ideas and trying to collaborate on some of the ideas that the group presented to them. Here's a snapshot of them doing some instant messaging to start as a bit of a demo, and just a few photos of the participants, and you can see that the room got pretty full. There was a lot of interest in this particular workshop. And finally, here's our Dummies2Delight group, and you can see at the end of the process they were quite transformed. They were educational technology evangelists. So we thought, well, this went so well, how could we use this on an institution-wide model? And we have limited resources. So really we've started by doing it as an invitation model, where we've gone to various schools throughout Unitec and asked them to see if there's a group of staff who would be interested in learning about educational technology, and myself or Gedra would be there as the technology steward to guide the group and work on a process of about 8 weeks, getting together once a week, usually in our computer lab, to work on these ideas, investigate educational technology. And what we've done is sent out an invitation letter, and if we have a quick look here, you can see the invitation letter. Now it's pretty hard to read on screen, but you can download this from the wiki. There's a link to this as a PDF, and this just outlines the idea and outlines some of the topics that we go over, but it's fully negotiable with the group, and that's one of the key things. So really what we want to do is make each community of practice unique, and that each community of practice will maybe go over different ideas, different topics. They'll be centered in their own discipline, their own school, and they'll have their own specific project goal. And in that way we hope to nurture and motivate the group. Here's an example of a community practice that Gedra has been working on with early childhood education. And you can see Gedra's used Moodle here for the notes for the workshops, and gone over very similar topics to what the first Dummies2Delight group went over. Here's a little video snapshot of some feedback from a community of practice group that Gedra has run. One of the other things that we've found has come out of the community practice has been basically building very strong relationships with the teaching staff. And from this, we've developed collaborative projects. Here's an example one here with the Diploma of Landscape Design. This is a collaborative project from last year, and the tutor was a graduate of the first Dummies2Delight group and wanted to implement some of the ideas in her own teaching. So we worked together with her and put up the idea of student blogs as a reflective and documenting way of looking at their Ellerslie Flower Show design project. And you can see it was quite a good success. The students there received 2 gold awards and a bronze award, and really got quite excited about the whole concept of blogging, which they had never been into before. So we'd like you to really sort of discuss. We've got a link to a wiki. You can see there's the link down the bottom there. It's on our main wiki. Some of these ideas, some of your thoughts, what you've been doing. Is there some things that you'd like to find out more about, and we can discuss that on the wiki. Some of the successes from the projects have been we've managed to get senior management involved in these communities of practice, and that's been a key in getting this right throughout the institution. We've had better use of our resources. Instead of doing generic workshops, we can really tailor what we're doing with each of the communities of practices. Having measurable outcomes, having a specific goal for every different community of practice, and then that following through into collaborative projects between the Centre for Teaching, Learning, Innovation, lecturers and students. And it's really the students in the end that we want their educational experience to be enhanced. So some of the key issues that we see is the use of the technology steward, communication tools, building up reflection, nurturing the group, and realizing the uniqueness of every community of practice. So here's some of the conclusions that we have, and you can read through those on the wiki. And then finally, don't forget to go to the wiki link for the discussion, put your ideas down there, and let's get some great discussion going on these ideas. Thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the presentation.